In the heart of West Africa, long before Europe's kings drew borders on maps, there rose a land of gold, wisdom and power, the Mali Empire. And from its dust and glory would emerge a man the world would never forget, Mansa Musa. But Mansa Musa's story doesn't begin in a palace. It begins in Keita, the royal clan of Mali, where young Musa grew up in a time of shifting power and endless ambition. Musa was born into royalty, but not to rule. As a prince, he was trained in diplomacy, warfare and faith. His teachers taught him more than survival. They taught him purpose. The Mali Empire was already vast, stretching from the Atlantic coast deep into the Sahara. Gold flowed through its veins, traded in markets so rich that foreign merchants whispered legends of African kings made of gold. Fate came calling when the sitting emperor, Abu Bakr II, embarked on a mysterious voyage across the Atlantic and never returned. In his absence, the royal court needed a leader to keep Mali from crumbling. That man was Musa. In 1312, Musa Keita ascended the throne, not by conquest, but by necessity. He was crowned Mansa Musa I, ruler of one of the wealthiest empires the world had ever known. With wisdom and faith, he expanded Mali's borders, uniting kingdoms and building trade routes that reached across Africa. From the gold mines of Wangara to the salt of Tagaza, everything flowed into Musa's empire. But Mansa Musa was not just a king of gold. He was a servant of knowledge. He built schools, libraries and mosques, turning his empire into the beating heart of learning in Africa. In the city of Timbuktu, wisdom became wealth. Scholars from across the continent came to study law, astronomy, and the Quran. Musa dreamed not of conquest, but of civilization. Yet even as his empire prospered, Musa's greatest journey and his greatest legend was still to come. A journey that would shake the world's economy and rewrite history. In the 12th year of his reign, Mansa Musa was struck by a divine calling to make the sacred pilgrimage to Mecca, known as the Hajj. But Musa would not travel as a mere man. He would travel as a king whose faith was as boundless as his wealth. His entourage would become legend: 60,000 men, 12,000 slaves, and 100 camels, each carrying nearly 300 pounds of pure gold. It was a river of riches crossing the desert. As the caravan stretched for miles, gold sparkled under the African sun. It was said that when Mansa Musa's army moved, the desert itself glittered. Wherever he passed, from Walata to Cairo, the world stopped to watch. He gave gifts to the poor, built mosques and funded scholars. Yet his generosity came with an unexpected price. When Musa arrived in Cairo in 1324, his legend exploded. He met the Mamluk Sultan, Al-Nasir Muhammad, and brought so much gold that its value collapsed. Overnight, Musa gave away gold in such abundance that it caused inflation across Egypt for over a decade. Historians called it the richest act of charity in history. Yet Musa's journey was not only about wealth. He funded schools, libraries, and mosques along his path, leaving behind knowledge where others sought fame. To the Arabs and Europeans who met him, Musa seemed almost false. a man whose humility defied his wealth, whose commitment transcended his throne. When he finally reached Mecca, his arrival was like prophecy fulfilled. Gold dust shimmered in his footsteps as he prayed among pilgrims from every corner of the world. For months he remained there, a humble worshipper of Allah, the richest man alive kneeling among the poor. His faith became the crown above his crown. When Mansa Musa finally returned from his pilgrimage, the desert wind carried stories of his glory ahead of him. From Cairo to Marrakech, from Arabia to Europe, the world had heard the name Mansa Musa. He had not only fulfilled his duty to Allah, he had placed Mali on the world map. His empire was now the jewel of Africa, its name whispered in royal courts and painted in foreign maps. But Musa's mind was not set on celebration. His pilgrimage had shown him a greater vision, to transform Mali into a beacon of faith, knowledge, and power. He began by expanding the city of Timbuktu, constructing mosques, libraries, and schools. The most famous among them, the Jingareba Mosque, stood as a marvel of architecture and devotion. Soon, scholars and poets from across Africa and the Middle East came to Timbuktu. Its libraries held hundreds of thousands of manuscripts on science, philosophy, and law. It became the beating heart of African knowledge. Under Mansa Musa's rule, Mali thrived. The gold trade continued, cities flourished, and justice flowed from the throne. The world had never seen such a balance of wealth and wisdom. But even kings must fade. As Mansa Musa grew older, he prepared his son, Magan, to inherit the throne. He taught him not the art of conquest, but the art of leadership. In his final years, Musa became more withdrawn, devoting his time to prayer, reflection, and charity. He had built empires, changed economies, and connected continents, but his greatest work was the example he left behind. Sometime around 1337, the great king of gold passed from this world. The desert winds whispered his name, and for centuries it echoed through history. After his death, Mali continued to shine for generations, but no ruler ever matched the grace, faith, and power of Mansa Musa. He had become legend, a myth too grand for memory, yet too real to fade. Centuries later, historians would try to measure his wealth. Some claimed he was worth over $400 billion in today's money, more than any king, emperor, or billionaire in history, but Elon Musk has broken his record. But Musa's true legacy was never his gold. It was his vision, a vision that turned a kingdom into a civilization, and a man into a symbol of what leadership could be. Today, his name stands as a reminder that Africa was not only a land of riches, but of genius, culture, and kings who shaped the world. Mansa Musa, the Golden King, the man who gave away gold, but left behind something far more valuable, the legacy of greatness. Which empire or world event do you want me to bring to you? Please subscribe, like, share, and let me know your thought in the comment section. Hit the notification bell so you wouldn't miss out on the subsequent ones. Thank you.